Hey everyone, my name is Katie Pierce and today I'm here to teach you the ukulele, and this can be for anyone at home. This can be for teachers teaching anyone grades 6th and up. It is for you to learn how to play this beautiful instrument, and let's get started. I can't wait. So today we're going to be talking about the ukulele, and feel free to be using this as a part of your class, high class, and feel free to also be slowing this down, to be pausing this video, to go back and watch something again. And if you're learning this on your own at home, feel free to do something again, to stop and practice, to zoom in closer to see what's going on. Anything you need to do, I'm a resource for you. So the ukulele is a stringed instrument. It has 4 strings, and it originated from Portugal and was brought to Hawaii by Portuguese immigrants, where it gained popularity after the last king of Hawaii loved it so much that it became popular in the state and the territory at the time. And it gained popularity from the media and Hawaiian tourism in the continental U.S. following World War II. And ever since, it's been played by a lot of different musicians in recordings. And lately, a lot of young people really like to play it, including myself. So as I said before, the ukulele has 4 strings. It's got these pegs on the end that are called tuning pegs, so they're for tuning each string. And it looks like a really tiny looking guitar. The differences between this and the guitar include the fact that the ukulele has 4 strings and the guitar has 6 strings. The guitar is usually more complicated to learn, it's bigger. So the ukulele is really great for teaching young students who are smaller because they can hold it and it's more accessible for them. So there are 3 goals that we have today for our ukulele beginner class. We're going to learn how to properly hold the ukulele, we're going to learn how to strum the ukulele, and we're going to learn how to do a basic 4-chord progression. So let's jump right into the basics of holding the ukulele. So we have here the neck of the instrument, so it has the pegs at the top, and then this part, which has all these little boxes on it, it's called the fretboard. And so the fretboard in this part of the ukulele wants to point to your left side. And you should have the body of the ukulele, which is the big part, sitting in the crook of your arm, or if you're more comfortable, or it's better for your students, you can have them sit on their leg, especially if you're sitting. But if it's more comfortable for you to kind of cradle it, that's totally fine. I would also recommend a slight angle up to the left for the left hand. It's going to be a little bit strenuous on your arm and kind of unnatural to play it directly on, so feel free to angle that up a little bit because it's most comfortable. And we're going to strum with our right hand, and we're going to be fingering with our left hand. So just to review, when you're setting yourself up with your ukulele, you're either sitting, standing, or sitting in a chair. Anything is fine. Your fretboard should point towards the left. You should cradle it or set it on your lap. You should slightly angle up for your left hand so it's most comfortable. And then we're strumming with the right and fingering with the left. So next we're going to learn how to strum. So there are 2 ways you can do this. I'll show you the way I do it, and then the way that you can teach your students, or if you have different hands than I do. I have really large hands, so it's different for me. There are 2 ways to do this. So the way that I do it, I just kind of make a pick with my entire hand, kind of like a little puppet. And then I just strum using my whole hand. It is also fine to make a triangle with your thumb and 2 fingers and strum. You kind of get a louder sound that way. But when I have big hands, so I just am able to use the whole thing, and that's easier than me making something smaller with my hands. So either is fine. You should always strum all of the strings as evenly as possible. This is a really hard thing to do if you haven't practiced before. And so the best thing to do is try and keep the ukulele flat, so don't point it up towards the sky, and try and strum all the way down. A lot of beginners will have trouble because they'll only strum the top parts of the strings, and they won't make it all the way down. So you want to have a nice big even stroke down using the wrist to do most of the work, not your arm, because that's too much work. And you're going to try and strum as evenly as possible. So now we're going to get into our little basic pattern that we're going to use today. And I'm going to put the ukulele down for this because I'm going to do a little air guitar thing here. So the basic pattern that we're going to do is down, down, up, down. And notice that my arm keeps moving the entire time. It's just I'm only choosing to strum the strings when I'm saying down or up. So down, down, up, down. So I'm skipping one. And this will be easier to see when you're applying it to the ukulele, but you can always try this pattern with your students, or if you're working at home. And use your wrist and just use the air ukulele to get this nice, easy looking, easy feeling pattern down. And then we're going to pick it up. And don't worry about touching any of the strings right now with your left hand, but just have that nice posture like we talked about and strum evenly all the way down and say it with me. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down, down. Notice how I'm doing a little bit of a fake in there. And that's just keeping everything as smooth as possible, as laid back as possible, and this will become very routine as you keep practicing. So you can practice that on open strings, and it should go really smoothly after you keep playing it for a while. You got this. Next, we're gonna get to our chord progressions. So a few things to know about your left hand before we get started. We have numbers that we assign to all the fingers, so it's easier for us to explain a terminology that makes sense for everyone. So when you're looking at your hand, your thumb is gonna be number 1, your pointer finger is number 2, your middle finger is number 3, and then your ring finger is 4, and your pinky is 5. So you got your 5 fingers here. And then we look at our strings, and we have our 4 strings. And the strings are going to be numbered 1 through 4 from the bottom up. So we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, and we got 4. Sometimes in this video, I'm going to refer to string number 1 as the bottom string and string number 4 as the top string, just so it's easier for everyone to understand what I'm talking about. When we talk about how chords are described, they're going to be described using both the string number as well as the fret. And the fret is actually these little metal parts on the fretboard itself, and they divide. So this is fret number 1, this is fret number 2, 3, 4, and so on. It goes all the way down. So I'll tell, when I'm teaching a chord, I'll say, okay, we're going to go with the bottom string on fret 3. So that means you count 1, 2, 3, and right there. And, spoiler alert, you just learned your first chord. That's chord C. And so go ahead and try strumming that, and that's C. Voila, we've already done one. A few things to think about when you are strumming strings and you're starting to put your fingers down on the fretboard. Make sure that you are always keeping your finger in between the metal parts of the fret. You never want to have your finger on the fret because it really mutes the sound. Listen to my C chord when my finger's on the fret. And then, when it's off of it, it's in between. You get that nice ringing sound, and that's what you really want when you're playing the ukulele. And I forgot to mention with C, I like to keep my 3rd finger on that fret. It's just an easy way to hold it. That's my favorite thing to do for the C chord. The next chord we're going to learn is our A minor chord, and it's very similar to our C chord, except we are going to take our 3rd finger, so the same finger, and we're going to the top string, and we're going to the 2nd fret. So you're moving over a fret, and you're going from the bottom to the top string. And this is our sad little chord friend. They say that minor music, sad music, is some of the most beautiful music, and I kind of agree with it. I really love this chord. Especially since it's so easy to play and so similar to C. Next, we're going to learn our F major chord, and this is great because it is already so similar to our A minor. So, to review our A minor, we have our 3rd finger, top string, 2nd fret, and then we are going to take our 2nd finger, the pointer finger that's waving, and we are going to put that on the 1st fret, so right here, and we're going to put it on string number 2, so the 2nd from the bottom. We're going to try and make sure that our fingers are centered, so they are not muted at all. That's a good thing. And we're going to strum that. Hear how that resolves from the A minor. That's some cool storytelling right there, isn't it? Now, my friends, I've saved some of the best for last. Here we are going to learn our G major chord, and this utilizes a technique or a fingering pattern that I like to call the triangle. And so this is what the G chord looks like when you're fingering, and look, you can draw a little triangle between your fingers on there. So that's a great way to remember how this feels and how this looks on your ukulele. And we're going to break it down from the bottom and build it up. So we're going to start with our second finger, and that's going to go on the second fret on the third string. So that's second from the top, and it's going to go right there. Oh yeah, it looks great. Next, we are going to have our third finger, the middle finger waving. We're going to keep that second finger on there, and then we're going to put our third finger on the same fret, the second fret, and we're going to put it on the bottom string, so they're little neighbors right there. And that's our first side of our triangle, if you've taken some geometry. And then we have our fourth finger, our ring finger. That's going to go on the third fret, on the second from the bottom string, so that's string number 2. And there we have our beautiful looking triangles. And the final thing we're going to do with all these chords that we just learned is we're going to put them in a progression. In a progression, an easy way to define a progression is a set of chords that makes up the foundation for a melody. So in this case, when you're playing, you're usually singing along when you're playing guitar or ukulele. So you're setting the foundation for the song, which is really an important thing. So here is the pattern that we are going to learn with these 4 chords. We are going to start with our C chord, so go ahead and set it up. Third finger, third fret, bottom string. With our simple strumming pattern, down, up, down, 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 up. And then we're going to go to the triangle method, so go ahead and set that real quick. You can go back and rewind if you need to set this up again. And then we're going to apply the same strumming pattern. Then we're going to go to our friend A minor, which is very similar to our C. And here's where that resolution comes in handy. We're going to go to our F major. That is the progression, and you can keep repeating this. A lot of songs will do that, where you keep repeating the progression and you just sing different melodies. It's a great way to get started, and congratulations on finishing this portion of your ukulele journey. So, just a few things to review about the ukulele as you continue on learning and practicing and having fun with this instrument. The biggest thing is when you're fingering, make sure you're in between each fret metal part and you're not on, because that mutes each note, as we've talked about before, and it doesn't sound as good. We want a nice, clean, and open sound. So remember that. Another thing to think about, I have extremely long nails right now. I haven't cut them. That is something that's going to help you, is having short nails when you're playing a string instrument, because it's just going to be easier to put your fingers everywhere. So that's something to keep in mind as you're practicing. And the biggest thing I want you to remember is to have fun. This instrument is all about you. The songs are of your choosing. This is about you and your relationship with the music. So have fun, pick songs you want to play, learn to sing them if you like, practice wherever you want, and enjoy and have fun with your friends with this, because music is supposed to be a good time. So teachers, if you are using this video for your class, feel free to follow the teacher's guide that I've attached with this and go on and learn how to play I'm Yours by Jason Mraz. It's a great beginning song. And for those of you at home, I charge you to find a song that uses 4 chords, these 4 exact chords, and learn it on your own. It's a great way to start getting into playing this instrument for yourself and in a way that you want to play it. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time, and leave any comments that you'd like about questions, about anything you want to learn, and what you want to see next with the ukulele. Peace and take care.